Well, we won't be on that long. Okay. Okay, 2 o'clock, Tuesday, October 4th, and it is time for Thriving Live with Gabrielle Senza. And I have a special guest with me again, Dan Ruderman. And
Scoot over in a minute.
Dan will scoot over in a minute. And we are, as you can tell, not coming to you from the studio, and instead we are sitting in Schenectady, New York. Why are we in Schenectady, New York? Well, because sometimes family stuff happens and we need to show up for family, which is why we're here in Schenectady, New York. And feeling feels, because that happens when people are in stress mode or depressed or whatever it is. And the reason I'm looking over here is because I'm looking for my notes, my show notes. Here we go. I found them. And so, yeah, so sometimes, yeah, thriving, as Dan was just saying a few moments ago, we can't thrive like just in like everything's working out perfectly, and then other times it's just all crap. Like, I mean, it's just going to happen. We're going to have both experiences because we're human. That's what happens here on the planet. And it's not always fun or
Easy.
or convenient. Almost never is it convenient.
Sometimes you
when-
have to do like a show from like a hillside outside a college,
Right.
sitting on the grass, and it's
In this
easily,
funky part of town.
it's also the grass is easily 10 degrees colder than it was last week.
Yeah, definitely colder than it was
We're gonna
last
show
week.
them
Check
the-
out
the
the,
racist Huron Grill sign.
can you see that sign over there on
I
the
can
grill?
post it later in the comments.
Yeah, we'll make a picture later, but anyway, it's, here we are. So, well, since it's the show of, Thriving Live, and what I always do in the show is some grounding exercise, which I know I will happily do. I also want to note that it is episode 29.
It's a lot of finger work. I couldn't do that.
Can't
that
even
fast.
do like, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, it's episode 29.
So should we
Very
just be
exciting.
here for a moment? You want me to walk you through a thing?
Yeah, if you
Alright.
want to walk us through a thing, that'd be
I'm
awesome.
gonna walk you through a thing.
All right, we're gonna walk
Yeah.
through a pleasure grounding exercise.
Literally a
led by
grounding
Dan.
exercise. And I invite you to find your butt. Shouldn't be that hard. Should still be connected. And find where it reaches, where it connects to something solid that can support your spine. In my case, it's the sort of chilly hillside,
That's what I'm-
and it's all good. And just feel that for a minute. Feel it rock back and forth so slightly. You can do a big rock or two. Sometimes I have to do a big rock or two just to get, okay, where's everything? Where's that joint? Where's that
Nice,
spine?
good center of gravity.
Yeah, find the center of gravity. Pretend there's a string holding up the top of your head, and do a clockwise circle. Your whole spine on your sit bone. So it's like a clock. Like you're moving your head in a circle. And if you pay attention to your bottom, you're going around the numbers of a clock, not a digital clock. You can't go around those. But an old-fashioned wall clock or old-fashioned watch. And reverse that. And you can make it try slower if you're going fast, and faster if you're going slow. Not big changes, just little changes. Just experience the connection of your head and your bottom. And just a piece of gratitude for that spine that connects the two of them. And I tell you that most of the time, most of us don't have to think about our spine. And I would also say that in the last few weeks, I've started to sit more often and think about my spine, and it's made me feel better every single time to just check in, think about my spine and lengthening it, seeing if I don't feel it's the tiniest bit taller. And then I've been playing with my shoulders, remembering that they can be flat in the back, no matter what my posture is. And I was thinking I was sitting up pretty straight, and just saying that and feeling it myself, I realized I had a few more inches of shoulder that I could open up in the front of my chest as I made the back flatter. So take a breath in, and up at the top, bring your shoulders all the way up to your ears. Hold for a minute, bring them back as far as you can, and then drop them as you exhale. Sometimes when I do that, there's some noise. Depends on how recently I've done it. There's some noise of loosening. So do that again, breathe in. Shoulders up, hold, push them back, and drop and breathe out. Get them all the way down. And bring your arms up and climb a ladder with your arms. Alternate your arms. And you're doing this to move those shoulders up and down. And notice while you do, if you can keep them flat on your back while you're doing it. Seeing if I can do it. It looks like I can do it without hitting Gabrielle, but it's close.
Very close, so close.
And there's an example that you're changing something, because we sat down before. I don't think either of us thought we were in any danger of hitting each other. But once we gave more space, we really are bigger than we think we are. And we can be bigger than we think we are while becoming more grounded. And that's our pleasure first for today. That's like just a few minutes, and you can do it in a car, and you can do it on a hillside outside of college, and you can do it in a chair. You could do it in a box. You could do it with a fox.
On a train and on a plane. It's true. We can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And the sky is very gray, and I did notice a couple of raindrops coming in, but not at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. This will be a short one, because here we are helping out family. And as you were saying earlier, I loved how you said that people can realign to allow for others to go and do the thing that we needed to do, which was to get on the show and be here and be real.
Mhm.
And then when we come back, we can be supportive again.
See,
I mean, while
not-
we're doing what we needed to do, I really
Right.
needed to get out and take a walk and have
Yeah.
fresh air and to connect with you directly
Yeah.
and be able to talk with you and be on the show and
And
show
because
up.
you stated what you needed, people are able to do it. So we're not helicoptering in and saving the day. We're not saviors.
Totally. Yeah.
We're just some more people that are coming to do things, and we also have the things that we're doing. And all of a sudden now 4 people can communicate about what they each need.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So that's
And learning
great.
to say the things clearly instead of expecting that someone's going to do it or remember what you need if you never even spoke it. I know from my experience, that doesn't work. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And so, and what I love about learning to express what we want, what we need, what we desire, the experience of doing that and practicing that and realizing like, oh my God, I did it and nobody started hating me, or my life didn't end, or like the love was cut off, or whatever it is. It's actually more expansive than contractive. And I think my fear, and maybe for others, that we often feel that we'll be rejected when we express a need or a want or a desire that might not be in alignment with what the other person is, but actually we won't even know until we express it. And actually I found that when people, so that's been my big win for myself, is like, oh my God, I survived that, right? Like that was cool. Like I was able to do that. People heard the desire and made room for it, right? Or, just accepted it. And then the other thing is, oh my gosh, it gives me so much joy and pleasure when people are clear about what they want
Mm,
and what they desire. Even when it's super simple, like what would you like to have tonight for dinner? Or would you like to go to the such and such or other? Or how would you like to spend the next few hours? Right? Like,
Those are wonderful questions.
yes.
Right.
And when a person can actually give you a real answer instead of the answer that they're trying to figure out is going to please me, then it's a very different experience. And it feels like so like it seems so incredibly basic, but the reality is that so few of us actually practice this. And it's such a beautiful example of agency
Mhm.
and authenticity. You know,
Yes,
like if you were to say, frankly, I really would like to take a 20-minute nap, I'd be like, awesome. I love that. Let's make sure you do that because what I want to do, or not because, but, and while you do that, I want to do that too, or I'll
right.
do something else, or I'll take a walk.
But it can
Thank you
also,
for being clear.
and it can also be, oh, that's awesome. Thank you for expressing it. I don't see how that can happen,
Hmm. Right.
right?
Right. Yeah. They
But
can't always happen
but
in the
it's safe
moment.
to ask for it, and it's also safe to say, maybe that's not going to happen. I've noticed when I ask you, I will sometimes be thinking, God, I'd really like to have Baba Louie's pizza tonight. But I won't say that. I'll say, hey, would you like to have something for dinner tonight? Or where would you like to go for dinner tonight?
Oh my God.
And then that could be the start of a shit show in like
Right.
all the permutations of you wondering, did you want to or not want to? And if you were thinking about just having soup someplace, is that different? Or do I want to go? And where do I? And all of that stuff where I have noticed that I like the response better. And you can tell how you are when I say, God, I have this urge to eat pizza at Baba Louie's tonight. Do you want to go get something with me?
Yeah.
Then it's a really clear statement of what I want and a clear invitation.
Right.
And you can also say, "Ah, no, you know what? I've had Baba Louie's and
Yeah.
but pizza's okay. Would you consider Roberto's for pizza?"
Right. Or I
Right.
could just be like, I'm not really up for pizza
Yeah.
and I'd
Right.
really love to keep working and I
Yeah.
have some soup in the refrigerator.
Right.
Would you be all right if we,
Or I
you
don't
know,
want to go out.
maybe there's someone else
Yeah,
or,
right.
know,
So we
or
can
I don't wanna
negotiate,
go.
we can
Yeah.
we can logisticate.
We can
She says
logisticate.
I logisticate all the time. I
He's
do.
an-
I love logisticating.
You're an awesome logisticator. Oh my gosh.
But we
It's
can't
so
start the
good.
negotiation or the logistication if we don't start with what we each want. And that took some safety on my part to feel comfortable about
Yeah.
state what I wanted and make clear asks of you.
Right. And it's so, oh, I just actually just so love that. Because the clear ask or the clear like statement of what you did want, like I want Baba Louie's, it's like, that's so clear. And now because you said that, we're not wasting all that other time in ambiguity and like being unsure about like what is really the desire
Who's
here.
taking care of who?
Right. We often say that, like, are you taking care of me right now by asking that question?
Yeah.
What's your actual desire? So we're practicing this intentionally and often forget. And when we remember, it's so awesome. Yeah, we're learning how
Yeah.
to do it. It's nice.
It is nice.
It's like having something really solid
Yes.
and tangible.
And it's safety and trust and vulnerability, and then it leads to freedom. Like that's where thriving can begin. Once it's creating a new foundation based on safety and trust and comfort and agency,
Yeah.
so that we can thrive both together and on our own.
Right. Right. And making space for each other to have whatever the experience is that they're wanting or needing to have.
Yeah.
And being cool with that. Like,
Hey, I don't know what you were going to do on the show, but I have a question for you.
okay. I didn't have anything
Okay.
planned as usual.
Well, you've been a visual artist.
Yeah.
And for a long time, you've been doing a different kind of art that doesn't really lend itself to shows or galleries. And you were just had visual art in a gallery this weekend.
True.
I don't know how many years it's been, but I'm wondering what it was like for you.
It's been a while, actually. Let me think. I think maybe the last show I was in was probably 2019 or earlier. Couple works in a group show. right? In Great Barrington, maybe. Anyway, this felt really good. It's really, first of all, it's totally new work, right? It's unlike anything I've shown before.
Mhm.
And talk about tangible, right? And solid. I was, even in the art, this is a great example. Like, for my whole career as an artist, pretty much every single work of art that I've put out into the world, I've created with my own hands, right? I've like taken it from concept to the materials, to the fabrication, to the painting or the prep, and then the painting, and then the finishing, and maybe framing, and all those things. Always touching it with my hands. And in this case, I sent digital files to a printer and asked them to print it on metal.
Mhm.
And it's such a different experience because I don't get to see it happening. I'm
No
not,
process,
my
you don't get
hand is not
process at all.
involved in the process. Of course, in
Never.
creating the file, right? There's like some art, my
Create-
art stuff, creative stuff happens in prepping the file. But again, since I can't quickly make my own print to check it out and see if I'm happy with it, there's so much guesswork and anxiety. So I'm not yet comfortable with that, although I'm really happy with the results, and I'm really, really happy with the response to the work.
It was
So
very positive.
yeah, it was very, very positive. People wanted to see more.
And your pieces really stood out there. I don't know how much the people watching it know what you're talking about. So like this is the melding. When I think about your art over the years, this is the melding of, you went from a visual artist to a performance artist, creative engagement, social change.
Right.
Doesn't handle well in galleries. It's like there's not a thing to sell.
Right.
And then we can talk about Josephine's dress later and all of that, but you went to Antarctica. You're on a ship. You put on this wedding dress. You had to put on all your Antarctica clothing,
My gear,
your
my
gear, and then you
yeah.
had to put the dress on
expedition
over
gear.
it. And then you had to stuff the dress into your snow pants so you could get into the Zodiac boat. So
Right.
it could take you to the continent of Antarctica.
True.
So you could then hike up the top of the glacier or a section of it, so that you could then pull out the dress
Take off
and-
the Parker.
and crawl
Parka.
and stand and go into this trance performance. And then it was filmed, and I did some of the filming of it.
Yeah.
And so that performance, there's only 180 people maximum saw that happen,
Yeah.
and they weren't all there at that time, so they didn't all see it.
No, I think it was probably more like a couple dozen. At the
So
most.
these are the photos of you in that trance performance, in that place, in that dress, and they are stunning. And then you didn't say that you had them printed on metal, on aluminum.
Yeah, I had them
So,
printed on metal.
I'm not,
They're 20 by 30, so they're about
they're pretty good
this
size.
wide,
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
If Dan
that's my
wasn't
head.
there, it'd be like that.
Even from here, they're that big.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was really a different merging of taking a thing that you've done and turning it into stunning visual pieces
Mm.
that can be offered. And you have the limited editions are $2,500. And at least one person talked to me about them, and another asked me if you would ever have less limited versions because they couldn't afford 2,500, which is something that as an artist is a decision. that you
Yeah,
can make at
no,
some point.
the point, I mean, for these works, if people are inspired by them, by the story that's behind them, by the fact, I mean, some people are just like, the fact that you went to Antarctica, but B, crawled and walked on the peninsula or on the continent is like so moving to people, which is kind of surprising to me because I had no idea how people would react. And like with any of these trance performances, for lack of any other better words that I have come up with so far, I never know who they're for or why I'm doing them. I'm just drawn to do them, and I just do what I'm sort of inspired, guided to do, because it's not like inspired, it's like guided from within or something. Anyways, I haven't quite been able to figure out how to talk about it.
Right.
And I'm just really grateful that actually there's whatever the power is that's coming through from that dress and from the action that's having me do those actions is speaking to people.
I think there's something about following the call that lets us know that thriving is possible. That dress
Mm.
calls to you, these events call to you, the things that you do, they call to you and you follow. And I sometimes feel like it's finding that call and following it, that there could be obstacles and hardships on the way, but it's
Yeah.
what leads to thriving. In
Right.
the only real sense of the word, like that you're just in alignment and attuned and following your vision.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know where the vision comes from or why.
It's true. And also, I would add that being able to learn to trust that, what did you call it? Inspiration, drive, call, the call, like that it's happening to us or through us for a reason. And that, you know, most of the time we can totally trust it. Whereas if it's, since it's unfamiliar, we're very likely to like second guess it, think it might be crazy and not do it. And meanwhile, we haven't served whatever function that it was intended to serve. And so I just feel, yeah, I feel incredibly grateful and very privileged to be able to sometimes have those opportunities to actually work, do what's asked of me in that capacity. And I agree that, and how alive we get to feel when we actually do step into that thing that unfamiliar. I don't know why I'm doing it, but it feels like the right thing to do. It's like, wow.
And then so that was March that we were there, and it was October at the opening, or the day before October, and which would be September in a lot of calendars. And
It
so,
was indeed.
and
No,
that's,
the opening was October 1st.
it was October
Yeah,
1st. Okay, so
October
it was
1st, yeah.
October. And there you are, and you find out that you had an impact on the lives of the curator, of the gallery owner, of one of the board member, one of the board members, and of the other artists and the other people that came. Like you had an impact on people's lives, kind of at a distance. It's the way it's like effect at a distance. I don't know. It's very cool.
Yeah, and then to be able to engage with each other, right? And to have interactions and discussions about whatever the things, you know, having to do with the trip or whatever aspect it was that was touching each person was great. And then also meeting somebody who had been to Antarctica twice,
Yes.
on a sailboat, even across
Yeah.
the Drake's Passage.
Schooner,
So
like a wooden schooner,
yeah,
I think you
yeah.
said.
So that was pretty fun. And I mean, it was super fun. And of course, small world, you know, connections as well. Turns out like, oh, that man's wife is sisters with somebody whose daughter used to babysit my son. Like a random
Right.
thing, totally
That's pretty
random.
So I'm going to change the subject a little
Okay.
because we have a short show.
Yes.
And I think that kind of conclusion of that was following your call
Mhm.
and giving your gift are what lead to thriving.
Yeah.
And that you liked being back in the gallery space a little bit.
Yes. Thank you for bringing it back around.
You're welcome. But
I did.
You did, right?
Yeah,
And you are a multi-hyphenate person.
I am.
Yes, which means it's a good time to talk about the fact that you're a coach
Yes.
and that you help people find their blueprints and improve their erotic life.
Well, yeah, thanks to this guy. And yes, this would be a good time to talk.
Not that I taught you erotic skills, that's not what you meant,
Oh,
but that
you did.
that
He
you
also
get-
encouraged me to like, yeah, I mean, he introduced the erotic blueprints to me and
Yeah.
Jaya and
And-
all of that, and we got trained.
we did it together and
Yeah.
we both got
It was
certified
so
in it.
cool.
And so what are we doing with that gift?
We have some things coming up and we might as well share about it here on the show. So on Sunday,
Sunday, October 9th.
3:00, we'll offer a free introductory class. And we'll talk about what's so exciting about the blueprints for us. And we're going to also talk about the course that we're going to start in November and invite anyone who's interested to join in. And what they get with the whole package, it's an incredible list of things. And
Yeah.
because it's a situation right now, the circumstances around this call in this moment, I'm not
You're
gonna
not
be able to
thinking
go
about it
into
right
it.
now. Well, I'll give you an overview then. So we're gonna do like a short, like around a 2-hour class, real content, totally worth attending. You will learn, you will gain something if you show up on Sunday. I think we're doing a second free one a few days after that. We'll
Yep.
put all the dates up. And those are free, and I promise you'll get something from it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And in addition, we're then going to tell you about the longer class that we're going to be offering and the special time pricing and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be like a great big giant commitment, but we're going to
Yeah,
get,
it's only 6 weeks.
yeah, and we're going to get everybody started on the erotic blueprints, starting to have a better love life, a better sex life. It's about sex too, and better communication and better relationships.
Yeah.
And it's about 6 weeks, and we're gonna get you launched into the program. You get an actual program. You'll actually get the online
8-module course. It's
8-module
so
course with
thorough.
401 individual activities. It's pretty cool. And we're putting all that stuff up on the web in the next 24 hours. So
Yeah.
we'll let you know.
Yeah, it's all in the works. So we're really excited about that. People are always asking about us about that and like wondering when we're going to do more. And so we like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. It's so much fun. And there are other things. We'll be in New York City on Saturday for the abortion rights art parade
Yeah.
with Michelle Pred and the Wide Awakes and the Vote Feminist
And
groups.
Art for Her Sake, I think. Is that what it's called? No, I
Art
said it wrong.
Invest in Her Art.
Invest in Her Art. Yeah.
Another great organization you should check out.
So once again, artists helping lead the way to change and reminding women there'll be a time when you don't have to crawl.
Right.
No,
The long, slow crawl.
we need to stand, we need to march, all of us, not just the women, but the men
Right.
also,
Yes, definitely.
for healthcare, for equal, for access to healthcare, for abortion rights, for women's rights,
Yeah.
for agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for healthcare. So join us if you're in New York City on Saturday. We'll be at Washington Square Park, probably like from 1 to 2:30. And then we'll be marching down to the Nancy Hoffman Gallery, which I believe is
We'll
23rd
put
or
all the
25th
stuff in the
Street.
show notes or the comments, and we'll put them up on the website and the Instagram.
course,
Instagram's a really
Instagram
good
will have
place
it
to
all.
get, if you don't know Gabrielle Senza Studio.
Yeah, it's
on
already there. You'll
Instagram.
see all this stuff about
And
it
you can
there.
also go to Love and Death Because on Instagram, or my name, Dan Ruderman, which is probably easier to find because Love and Death has underlines and I can never remember where they are. And with that, I'm gonna walk away because I have a thing at the bottom of the hour. And I
Great.
need to
And I'll
take a-
sign off
You
and
are-
send tons and tons of love to everybody. If you tuned in, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching later, put a note in their comments somewhere and join us again in the future.
And sit up straight and bring your shoulders back and have good full breath.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.